So with all the news finally coming out for Season 1, we now have confirmation of Blade being a new hero coming to Marvel Rivals, and this is what we know about him. Because we now have some official artwork of Blade, and as you can see, he's being taken by Dracula. I mean, first of all, in this artwork, Blade looks absolutely sick. We have seen his base model leaked in the past. You guys have probably already seen it if you've been following on with the leaks, but why have we got this artwork of Dracula grabbing Blade up in the air? You can see he's dropped his sword. He is defeated. And because Dracula is the main enemy in Season 1 in the Empire of Eternal Night, where he's taken over New York, does this mean Blade is coming in Season 1? Well, this is the lore that we got revealed for Season 1. In the lead up to Eternal Night Falls, which is the name of Season 1, Dracula subdues the two greatest threats to his Empire of Eternal Night, Blade and Ratatosk. But the Fantastic Four won't let New York fall to the undead without a fight, and they prove to be formidable foes in Blade's absence. So as Dracula has taken over New York, he's also holding Blade and Ratatosk captive. For those wondering, Ratatosk is a squirrel that is the messenger for the Asgardians. I don't think he is going to be a hero, but Blade will be a hero, and this means that most likely the events of Season 1 will be to defeat Dracula and free Blade, which means we will be getting Blade at the start of Season 2. It makes complete sense, especially since on the New York map, which is a convoy map, you are transporting Herbie from the Baxter Building to the Avengers Tower in order to help Iron Man in his efforts with Mr. Fantastic to save the time stream and defeat Dracula at the same time. We also got another follow-up lore-wise with this image right here, and the context is that after Dracula takes over New York, Moon Knight forms the Eternity Knights with Iron Man, Wolverine, Adam Warlock, Winter Soldier, and Psylocke to strike back against the undead horde. But do they even stand a chance against Dracula's newest recruit? So here you can see the Eternity Knights, an amalgamation of these heroes trying to fight Dracula, but also in the foreground you can see Black Panther has been brainwashed by Dracula, but this looks like it might be an awesome skin that we're going to be getting later in the season. Evil Black Panther that's been taken over by Dracula and fighting against the other heroes. Alongside that, you can also see a new Psylocke skin and a new Winter Soldier skin that isn't in the Battle Pass, so I assume this will drop in the later half of the season along with that Black Panther skin. But back to Blade. Obviously with Blade coming at the end of Season 1 going into Season 2 being the most likely, what were the most up-to-date abilities that we had leaked? So as of the leaks, we did have names for Blade's abilities. He's going to be a duelist, and the leaks are pretty believable as they got pretty much everything right about Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman in Season 1. So he's going to be a duelist. He is going to wield a sword on his back as one of his primary weapons, and I believe this will be Dracula's sword, as his description does state. He's also going to carry a second weapon, which will be his hunting shotgun, which you can switch between, a little bit like Punisher. And speaking of Punisher, apparently he will have a passive where he can see enemies through walls, so it sounds like it will be similar to Punisher in a way. In my opinion, I think it will be that low health enemies are visible through walls rather than enemies that you've just seen. I think lore-wise, that makes the most sense for Blade, so he does have a passive that lets him see through walls. He also has 3 ability names here: Stomp and Slash, which will likely be a stun and a damage ability. He also has Dark Knight Attack, not sure what that is, and Fang Deflect, which will be a deflect ability of some kind, and the ultimate New Moon. Now, the ultimate will likely put him into his vampire form, as XOX Leak also leaked some more information about Blade recently, and this included that Blade can transform into his vampire form, and in this form, his slash attack changes, for example. So it looks like his ultimate will turn him into his vampire form, and that will slightly change his abilities, maybe just giving them more damage, a little bit like Mr. Fantastic's inflated form, or it will be a whole new set of abilities. And we also got the game's description for Blade. It says, half human and half vampire, Eric Brooks walks between worlds, craving the very life force of his enemies. As night falls, Blade's hunt begins as he wields the swords of Dracula to become the nightmare of any foe who dares to bare their fangs. So it's clear that the events of Season 1 will be the heroes freeing Blade from Dracula, and it looks like Blade will also have Dracula's swords, which makes sense lore-wise, as when Dracula defeated Blade, it looks like his swords might have got lost, but that's fine because he just took Dracula's swords which make him look much more badass. And you can see on his model, he does have Dracula's sword on his back. So there you go. Many of you expecting Blade in Season 1 are hopefully happy to hear that he is now confirmed officially, as you can see in the Marvel Rivals art. And I'm 99.9% sure that he will be dropping in Season 2. So we've got that to look forward to. There wasn't any news on Ultron, unfortunately, but that could be the next set of lore. So Season 2 could definitely give us Ultron, who was going to be a strategist, who I'm definitely looking forward to. Now, while your favorite hero might not be joining the roster in Season 1, Season 1 does bring some other changes to existing heroes, and now that early access gameplay is starting to be shared online, we can see some of the buffs and nerfs going into Season 1 that I'm sure some of you guys will definitely be interested in. I might drop a full buffs and nerfs gameplay video when I can fully compile all of them, but just a heads up on some of the changes going into Season 1. First of all, Wolverine did get a buff. At the moment, we can see he gets a 50 health buff, so now his base health is 350 instead of 300. As for Storm, Storm got some pretty nice buffs. First up, she should be getting a 5% seasonal damage boost. She also got a damage buff as well. It now takes 4 shots to eliminate a 250 health target instead of 5. Her damage falloff has also been reduced by around 50%. So you'll be dealing more damage at range, which makes a lot of sense for Storm, as you're usually flying around. You'll be pretty far away from the enemies anyway. So this damage falloff reduction means you'll be getting much more value for the damage that you're outputting. They also reduced the cooldown of her team up ability with Thor from 20 seconds to 15 seconds. Also, the bonus health given to her when she pops her ultimate now decays over time instead of instantly going away, which is pretty nice. So Storm definitely got some very nice improvements. For Cloak and Dagger, her ultimate now has 4 charges. So instead of dashing 3 times, you can cover a much larger area with 4, and these still stack, so you can stack all 4 of them to heal a whopping 880 health per second. Also, the animation from swapping from Cloak to Dagger is now quicker, and the cooldown for her healing bubble has gone from 15 seconds down to 11 seconds. She's definitely going to be a top tier support. Captain America now has 25 more base health, giving him 675 health, and his dash ability has a cooldown reduction from 12 seconds down to 10 seconds. His movement speed during his ultimate has also been buffed, making him slightly faster. Venom also receives some buffs. His ultimate seems to do a bit more damage and give you a bit more shields. Alongside that, his right click will slow enemies more when you grab them. A lot of people were saying this was a problem, and they could never really tell that it slowed the enemies down in the first place. Winter Soldier also got a secret buff. He now has 275 health instead of 250, and his passive now grants him 40 additional shield instead of 30. Now, other than buffs, we are getting nerfs for Hela and Hawkeye, but they're not that crazy. So the seasonal buffs for both characters has been reduced from 20% down to 15% damage boost, and Hela's health has been reduced from 275 health to 250. And she has slightly faster damage fall off, and her primary fire's damage has been reduced very slightly. Hawkeye's damage has stayed the same, however, it takes slightly longer to reach full charge when looking at enemies. So those are the buffs and nerfs that we've got from the early access so far. Hopefully we'll get some patch notes to confirm everything, but there you go, that's Season 1. It's been exciting checking out all of the content, and it's nice to see some official artwork of Blade, so let me know if you're looking forward to him.